What is Red Ribbon Week? Red Ribbon Week is usually celebrated the last full week of October. The dates are different each year. Your school may have you dress up in different outfits each day to celebrate being drug-free. Some schools give out red ribbons to wear also, and you may have a special assembly. Red Ribbon Week started in honor of one man who believed that he could make a difference in a world by helping people get off drugs. His name was Enrique Kiki Camarena. He was a Drug Enforcement Administration or DEA agent who worked undercover in Mexico. He lost his life in 1985. In honor of his memory, his friends and family wore red satin ribbons. Many other people wore ribbons in memory of their family members too. So a group called the National Family Partnership organized the first nationwide Red Ribbon campaign. Now, in U.S. schools, we celebrate Red Ribbon Week and living in a drug-free world one day. In honor of Red Ribbon Week, today we're going to read That's the Way It Always Happens, story by Margot L. Dill, and illustrations by Pamela Withroder. Lucy had a problem. She forgot to listen. It happened at school. It happened at home. It even happened at the zoo. "Honey," Grandma said, "don't feed the animals." But Lucy tossed popcorn to the polar bears anyway. When the popcorn was gone, one polar bear stood on his hind legs and roared. "Oh, Lucy," Grandma scolded, "I told you not to feed them." In a small voice, Lucy said, "I guess I forgot to listen." That's the way it always happened. One very important week at school, Lucy forgot to listen a lot. Mr. Grant explained, "This is Red Ribbon Week." He showed the class a red ribbon with a polar bear mascot. "We'll wear these to show we don't take drugs." Lucy stared at the sparkly white bear while Mr. Grant said, "Being drug-free means we don't take pills." Then she imagined that bear stomping into the room and asking for more popcorn. She didn't hear her teacher say, "It means we don't take pills from strangers." After school, Dad said, "Lucy, it's time to take your vitamin." "I can't. It's Red Rubber Week. I'm drug-free." Dad smiled. "You mean it's Red Ribbon Week, but vitamins are okay." "No, they're not," she argued. "Yes, they are," Dad argued back, and it continued this way until Lucy went to bed. Tuesday, Mr. Grant asked if anyone had something to share. Lucy's hand shot up. "Mr. Grant, I didn't take my vitamin last night because I'm drug-free." "Oh, Lucy," he said, "it's okay to take vitamins from your parents. Just don't take pills from strangers." In a small voice, Lucy said, "I guess I forgot to listen. That's the way it always happened." During art time, Mr. Grant asked everyone to make a poster for Red Ribbon Week. He told the class about good drugs and bad drugs. Lucy heard him say bad drugs are things like cigarettes and marijuana. She even heard him say good drugs are medicines people take to feel better, like when she had an ear infection and the doctor prescribed medicine for her. But when she had to draw the picture, Lucy was thinking about the yummy cherry medicine she took last summer and her stuffed polar bear she always held when she did it. Amanda drew a cigarette with a huge purple X over it. Ben colored a gigantic "No" next to a beer can, while Lucy remembered a story she had read about being nice to animals. Then Lucy painted a polar bear and wrote, "Be kind to animals." When Mr. Grant saw her picture, he said, "Oh, Lucy, this is nice work, but you didn't draw anything about being drug-free." In a small voice, Lucy said, "I guess I forgot to listen. That's the way it always happened." On Wednesday, Mr. Grant made an exciting announcement. "Tonight at 6 o'clock, a police officer will be at our school with a dog that could find bad drugs." Lucy couldn't wait. She loved dogs almost as much as bears. "Remember, 6 o'clock, you could take a note home to your parents," Mr. Grant said, while Lucy whispered to Ben about how much she wanted to get another dog. She didn't take a note home. Lucy and Mom came to school at 7 o'clock. Everyone was leaving. Lucy rushed to Mr. Grant. "Where's everyone going?" "Oh, Lucy," he said, "the police officer and his dog already left." "But," Mr. Grant interrupted, "I think you forgot to listen." All the way home, Lucy cried. She tried to listen, but sometimes her mind thought of polar bears and new pets or favorite stories and lunchtime. At bedtime, Mom tucked her in and said, "Oh, Lucy, tomorrow will be full of chances to listen." "I know what I could do," she said. "I could look right at Mr. Grant and watch the words come out of his mouth. Then I'll listen for sure." "That's a great idea." Mom gave Lucy a kiss and turned out the light. On Thursday, Lucy watched Mr. Grant's mouth when he spoke, and she concentrated on his words. It was a long day full of directions. She raised her hand to ask a question if she wasn't sure. Lucy hoped she listened to everything because on Friday there was a Red Ribbon Week celebration and her class learned a special cheer. On Friday morning, Lucy held her breath and walked into her classroom. She looked to the right and then to the left. Smile ran across her face. She did it! She listened! Lucy had on a red shirt just like Mr. Grant said, just like everyone else, except Eric. He sat at his table with his head down. "Eric," Lucy asked, "what's the matter?" He sniffled. "I didn't wear red." "Why not?" In a small voice, he said, "I guess I forgot to listen." Lucy grinned. "Oh, Eric," she said, "that's okay. Sometimes I do that too. All you have to do is watch Mr. Grant's mouth when he speaks and think real hard." Lucy had a great idea. She hurried to her desk and grabbed the red ribbon sticker Mr. Grant had passed out yesterday. "Here, Eric, you could have mine." Then he took her hand and they went to the snack table for fruit punch and a cupcake with red icing. "Ready for our cheer?" Mr. Grant said after everyone had their treats. "Eric," Lucy whispered, "it's time to listen." They watched Mr. Grant's mouth say, 1, 2, 3.
Free!
The class yelled. Lucy and Eric yelled right with them, and that's the way it always happened from then on. The end. Bye-bye for now.